everybody, it's Wendy, and today, as part of the new Beaders series that I've been doing, we're going to discuss crimping. So first of all, our encouraging word for today is very fitting: keep going no matter what. So the reason I chose this card is crimping used to be like the hurdle that I could not get over. I had so much trouble with it, and practiced and just couldn't get it. It was never right. It's been the subject of conversation even on other YouTubers' channels, which is like totally amazing to me that anybody cares about my crimping abilities. But yeah, and then I've had some really nasty comments about learning how to crimp before I do a video, and yeah, so I thought I have got to master this crimping thing. So I did, and I am going to show you guys why, but I kept going, didn't give up. So if you're having trouble with any aspect of jewelry making, keep going, you will get it. It just sometimes takes time. So crimping. Okay, so what we have here, when you are doing a stringing project, which is stringing beads onto some wire, you got to have a way to finish it off. Now this wire can be called, let me fix my camera, it's kind of crooked. There we go. This can be called bead stringing wire. It can be called tiger tail. It can be called just all kinds of stuff. And what it comes in 7-strand, 19-strand, and 49-strand. And it is little strands of wire that are braided together and then covered with a coating. Okay, so this is regular bead stringing wire or tiger tail. This is soft flex. Now, soft flex is made not to kink. You can tie it in knots. It's the same concept. You've got your strands inside there and they're covered with this coating, but soft flex uses colors, which really makes it kind of fun if you want to string. So I've got a few scraps here, and we are going to look at how to crimp. So first of all, let me get these out of the way. Let's look at crimping pliers. These are the two types that I have. This is a Xuron crimping plier, Xuron. It has this little divot here, and then it has these 3 little cutouts in different sizes. So your smallest, your medium, and your largest. The divot is where you place your crimp and push down to create the V. Then you rotate it sideways and you put it in whichever one of these matches the size of your crimp, and you close it. So I'm going to show you here in a minute. And my camera, it keeps tipping. What is wrong with you? Stay. We'll see if it does. Can't tell. I think it's moving slowly, but I'm not sure. So that's a normal crimping plier. This is a magical crimping plier. Softflex Company sent me this. Thank you so much, Sarah. I've wanted one for a long time. So the magical crimps, you have to have the special crimps. It comes in 4 colors. These transform 2mm tubular crimps into round beads. So instead of it having the regular crimp look, and you need to cover it with something, it's going to make it into a nice little round bead. So my camera is definitely moving. We are going to do this. Let me pause this and fix this camera. That should help. I have tape on my tripod that keeps my camera from moving, and apparently it had come loose. I think it should be good now. So these are the magical crimping pliers. You do have to have the special crimps for these, okay? So those are the 2 types of pliers that I have. Now I'm going to show you crimps. So these are crimps. So they come in round little beads like this. They are tiny. They come in all different sizes. This is a very small one. Here is a big one. Okay, so you can see the difference there. And then they come in tubular shapes. Okay, so they're very, very tiny. Here is a tube. This is a magical crimp plier tube. It's specifically for that. This is just a regular tube from, I don't even know what company this one's from, but this is the Softflex, the one you use with the magical pliers. I can't tell the difference just looking at them, but I'm sure there is a difference. Okay. These are both good quality crimps. This one I can't remember where I got, so I'm not sure about this. This is a very cheap crimp that came just from, like I bought in bulk from China somewhere. And when I first started crimping, I used these because that's what was given to me by somebody. They are not good. You do not want to use those for crimping, and I'm going to show you why here in a minute. And that's why my success at crimping has changed. I started using good quality crimp beads and tubes, and it does make a difference. So when you're crimping, here is one thing that you might use. So you would insert your wire through here. You would put your crimp bead on and then smash your crimp bead down and then close this over top of it, and that's going to give you an end to your necklace with loops. You can put something through. Now for that, it doesn't really matter. You can use your cheap crimp beads because all it's doing is hanging on to the wire and stopping this little clamshell connector from coming off. That's not a big deal. As long as you have it smashed down on this wire, it's going to do that. But when you're stringing a bracelet or something that you want that this is going to show, your crimp is going to show, or you've got two strands side by side, you need to make sure you do it right. So if I'm closing off the end of my bracelet here, say I've got this clamshell, and I'm closing off the end of my bracelet. That's not a very good example. Let's use the wire guardian. So this is a wire guardian. This just keeps your wire from becoming frayed. So we do it like this. We put our crimp bead on first. Okay. Then we put our wire guard on. So it goes up this little channel. It's got these little channels in it. And down the other side of this channel. And then it's going to come back through our crimp bead. And what that's going to do when you pull this tight, just like this, and whatever, like your clasp or your ring or whatever you're attaching to would go in here. This is going to protect this wire from fraying, from rubbing against the little clasp or the ring or whatever you've got and fraying. So that's a wire guard. And when you crimp like this, like if this was on the end, if I had a lobster hooked onto this to close a bracelet, this is going to show. So you want this to look nice. Plus you've got two wires together that you're crimping. And when you're crimping two wires side by side, you've got to make sure you do it right or it can come undone. So that's when you would not want to use this cheap crimp. That's when you would want to use one of your good quality crimp tubes or crimp bead, okay? So that's that. Crimp covers, that's what these are. They come in all different sizes, so you got little, medium, a huge one here. This one's kind of fancy. It's got this sparkly looking finish. And all these do is when you finish your crimp and you've got your little crimp here, if you don't like the way it looks, you slide this over top of it, close it up, and it looks like a bead. It just covers your crimp up, okay? So those are crimp covers. All right, so let's get into this how we crimp. All right, so let's use our soft flex wire first. So I'm going to show you crimping with the magical crimping plier. So we're going to take our tube, our crimp tube, that's this right here. I'm just going to create a little loop like this and come back through. But now if you had your wire guardian on here, it would go right here. But I'm not going to waste one just to do this. So here you have your loop that you're going to attach whatever to, your lobster, your jump ring, whatever. And you have your two wires here, and they are side by side. Now, I've never done this with the magical crimper, so we're going to see how this works. I'm going to hold this, and this comes with instructions. So it says step 1, you want to center the crimp in there. So this just has the one little hole. This doesn't have all the little other things that the other one does. So we're going to center our crimp in there. It says to, let me make sure it's centered. I don't feel like it is. There we go. Maybe now. Okay, that looks centered. Okay. It says to center the tubular crimp in the cavity and compress firmly. So let's press down. The crimp bead should look like a small ravioli. And look, it does. See the little ravioli with its 4 flat corners? It does. It makes it like a little pocket. It says without removing from cavity, but I removed it so we could look at the ravioli. Okay, so we're going to put it back in here. You turn it 90 degrees, so that would be this way. And you're going to compress firmly. Okay, pressing firmly. Now, open the tool slightly in caps, so that's probably important. Rotate crimp in small increments, compressing after each rotation until the crimp is rounded. All right, we're going to open slightly, we're going to rotate, we're going to press. Open slightly, rotate, press. Okay, and we're just going to keep doing this. And she did tell me that this can take some practice to do, so I'm just going to see how it comes out. Like I said, I'm used to the old-fashioned crimping. I've never done this cool little magical one. But there we have it, and it does look like a little bead on the end. It kind of rounds it out. Very, very cool. And then you would put whatever through here, and you've got a good tight, and there's no need to use a crimp cover because this makes it look like a little round bead on there. Very cool. Okay. So now I'm going to show you how to crimp with a regular crimp tube. So this is a good quality crimp tube. I'm going to come up and over and around just like I would if I had my Wire Guardian on there, whatever. I don't, but if I did. Okay, we're going to pull this up. And now I've got my wires, and I like to make sure that they stay side by side, and I'm going to show you why. You're going to take your crimper. You want the divot right here, this big one in the back on the bottom, and we're going to lay our crimp right in there. Then we're going to just press down. And when we do, you can see it creates two small channels there, and one wire goes in each channel, and that's what you want. Now, because I have a medium-sized crimp tube, I'm going to go in this medium-sized divot. You rotate it 90 degrees, and you take it and you press. And when you do, it creates your perfect little crimp. Okay? Some people don't like this to show though, so that's when you would take your crimp cover. You would just slide it right over top of your crimp. I'm not going to use it because I'm just going to show you kind of how it works. And I like to kind of grip it in my pliers here because they can be a little tricky to hang on to. But you would slide it right over your crimp here. Well, for heaven's sakes, let me just hold the thing. And you would just close it up with your plier. It's like a little Pac-Man. It's going to cover that crimp bead up and make a round bead, which you don't need if you have the magical pliers. So that's pretty cool. All right, so that is how a crimp should look. Okay, that's a perfectly good crimp right there. Now I'm going to show you the cheap crimp. So we're going to do the same thing. We're going to take this crimp bead. Whoops. We're going to go up and over and around just like we would if we were finishing the end of something. Okay. And there I have my two wires side by side. I'm going to take my plier and lay it in here and press down. Now that creates the little divot, but if you can see, it's kind of smushed looking and not the best. I'm going to rotate it, put it in here, and then when I close it up, I don't know if you can tell, but it just doesn't do pretty. It's smushed up looking. It doesn't create the perfect little fold that this one does. And that's the difference between a cheap crimp and a good quality crimp. I did the same exact thing, but they just don't come out the same no matter how much you try. And that was my frustration with crimping. I knew I was using this tool right, but I could not get it to look good like this one does, and that's why. So I hope this helps the new people with crimping. You know, I know a lot of you have mastered it already, and it's no big deal. But to me, it was a huge hurdle to get over. And yeah, if I had somebody that could have explained that to me really well, that would have been awesome. And I think I would have understood a lot sooner. So I hope this helps. Yeah, if you have any questions, put them in the comments below. I'm doing this new beginner Beaders series, so I do have a playlist for it. So you can click on I just have 3 or 4 videos so far, but I'm going to keep it going. And so I hope it helps the new people out. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do, and hit the bell to be notified when I upload new videos. All right, guys, thanks so much, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.